Hello, and welcome back to another episode of another episode of Kingdom Community. I'm your host, Nathaniel King. And remember that this is a talk show, and the intention is for us to have a live audience. So if you're interested in being a live audience member, you just have to join the Discord, and it's for $5 a month, but allows you to be a live audience member. Also allows you to have us to have conversation on the shows. So yeah, all of that is in the bio if you're interested. I'm going to be really frank here, and I suppose we'll see what happens, but I'm not sure how much longer I am going to be on this earth. I'm not going to commit suicide. I don't think anyone's killing me. I just don't think I'll be here for very much longer. I could be wrong. I might be misreading these things. But we'll see. I just don't think that I will be here for very much longer. The dreams that I have had previously that kind of told me in the space that I would be now are all coming to a head. And I have been living in the crisis part of it this past year. Actually, it's been more than a year, but it's really come to a head this past year. And the dream, it's confusing, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen. The dreams aren't confusing. I haven't an interpreter for them, and I'm not looking for one either. I haven't an interpreter for them. I'm just experiencing them as the time goes on, but I'm trying to understand what these things are being, what they indicate. I suppose I'm trying to understand what they indicate before I get there, which I don't have. I can only say that this is what has happened as it, this is part of the dream as it happens to me. And I know people are like, oh, you can give your dreams any meaning, which I don't know if that's the case or not. This has to be the right meaning, and it has to sit with me. It can't be something that I just decide this is what it's going to be. My brain doesn't allow for that. It's got to make sense. One of my dreams that I had involved two believers. My mom called them believers. I told my mom about all my dreams. I don't know if she remembers all of them, but I've told her about them. I've written them down in journals. My journals are in my house in Normandy, and I have some stuff written on my Google documents as well. I've written numerous times about the same dreams. So anyone reading those will know that I'm not making this up. Now the ending of the dreams. So like I said, in one of these dreams, the ending of the dream, I had been met with two people who considered themselves Christians. They were actually Seventh-day Adventists. And in my dream, they were friends of mine. And one was dying and one was not, like implicitly dying, I should say. I don't know if he was actually dying, but in the dream I did not feel like he was. I just felt like one was dying and the other one wasn't. And and I said to the one that was not dying, because we all three of us were in kind of a bad state, and I said to the one that was not dying, Well, I said to both of them, no, this doesn't make any sense. There's got to be a way. And then I thought about it, and I remembered Jesus. Jesus is the way. And I know that sounds cliche, but whatever. And I said, Jesus. I was like, and so I turned to the one that was well, and I said, do you believe that? I said, do you believe, or something like that. I don't know the exact words, but something like, do you believe, or whatever. And the one that was well took a long time to respond. But finally, like he was thinking about it, and he finally responded, and he said, no, to my utter astonishment and dismay. And so then I turned to the one that was sick, and the one that was sick took less time to make up his mind, and he also said that he did not believe. These are believers, these are Christians, but they did not believe that Jesus could help them. And that was frustrating again for me. So then I asked myself if I believed, and I hesitated as well. Just thinking about the things. I don't remember exactly what I was thinking about, but I did. And I said, I do believe. All right. And it was, I had to think about it. I had to make sure, whatever, but I did eventually say that I do believe. Then what happened was that I remembered that I knew how to fly, and I flew, and I flew, and I kind of left my friends, but I was still hovering in the same area that they were, but I was still just kind of there, flying around, and I was crying because they refused to believe. And then a voice spoke to me from the sky and said, now go fly, now fly far, far away and never return. That's what it said. And a hole opened up in the sky, and I was meant to fly through it. And I did. I was sad that I had to leave my friends, but I had to fly through the hole and to the other side, and I did. So I don't know what that means. I had another dream that had a more expounded had a more expounded ending to my life than this dream did, because in this dream I flew far away, and this other dream, after the tragedy, because there was a tragedy that happened after the tragedy, and the other dream, it was actually the first dream that I had, it showed my life being built up in a very beautiful rainbow castle, but God was the builder. It was not I. But I did have some say in how things happened. So like I would say a window needs to be there, and whatever, curtains need to be there, and it would appear just like that. Now I thought that the ending of these two dreams would be like I would be still remaining on earth, and I would see the fulfillment of these dreams. And there's still part of me that still thinks that, but there is another part of me that thinks that that is not what's going to happen. That that the thing that God is building for me, perhaps, I don't know. So don't quote me on this. I don't know how to interpret dreams. I have asked God I think I've asked God what the meanings are behind these dreams. I haven't received a response. I can ask him again. I haven't received a response. I can ask him. If you're listening to this and you decide that you want to ask God what the meaning of these dreams are, please do so, I welcome it. But yeah. So, but I might not. It might also mean I won't be here on this earth for very long, which is fine. I'm not really attached to this earth at either anyway. But I have, left clues, or not clues, but information, I suppose, on my, Google Drive and stuff like that. My husband and my friend Cito, they have access to it. And so does my friend Christian, who I did my last podcast with. He has access to it as well. He doesn't know it, but if you tell him that he has access to it and I'm not here, then he'll know. He'll know that he does. He'll be able to find it. So that was impromptu. I was not planning on talking about. I was not planning on talking about that. This talk show is about showing people, especially LGBTQ plus people, that they are also part of God's kingdom and part of God's community. It is not about your sexuality. It is not about who you have sex with or don't have sex with that gets you into the kingdom of heaven. It is all 100% about your heart and where it is. And, that's 100% about what it's about. It makes sense as well. I know that people like to put a lot of rules and, just man held judgments on it and stuff like that. But it's very simple. It is about your heart. If you want to really kind of profit from life, you have seek God as much as you can, seek after God. I know that it seems like something that people just say, but it's not. I mean, yes, it is something that people say, but I'm telling you from very personal experience, and you can ask my friends in the past, even fans I've made all along my life. You can ask them, and they will tell you the things that God has done for me. So I was never rich. If God lets me stay on this earth, he will probably give me a means of making a significant income, if that's what he desires. If he desires that I stay on this land, on this earth, then that's what he will do. But it wasn't my mission in life was always to, and I knew this. I knew I wasn't supposed to be on this earth. I will be blunt with you. I knew I wasn't supposed to. I knew that the only reason I was put on this earth was because people stopped believing, or I don't know. That's not how I want to say it. If people had a relationship with God, there would be no need for me on this earth. Like, that is it, right? And so the mission that God had given me since I was a kid, which I knew it, and I told my mom about it. Granted, my thought process is always way off, apparently, than God's. But the objective, or the central line, is always the same, right? Was to show, it's a verse that's said in Esther, somewhere in Esther, thus shall be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor. So if you read Esther towards the end, this is what happened with Mordecai. is it Mordecai? I think his name is Mordecai or Mordecai. Mordecai. I think that's his name. I could be whatever. Y'all know his name. When he discovered the plot on the king's life. So, anyways, yeah. But I knew that this was God's goal to show to people the blessing, the utter blessing of Jehovah to those who God would bless, Again, I haven't had a lot of earthly riches, and in this current time, I am kind of, I'm homeless, living in a car and stuff like that. And I do know that it's easy to look at that and be like, oh, well, that's not very blissful. I mean, it's not very full of blessing. That's not kind of the blessing I want. And I agree. It's not that's not the life that a person wants to live, being in a car and stuff like that. And so I have fought many a times with God about that, or like argued many a times over the course of these past, it's only been 4 or 5 months, to be honest, but that's 1 month. That's 5 months too long, in my opinion. But I also understand why. I've been asking God, why are you letting this happen to me? Because this is what you showed me you wanted to do with me, and yet you've taken everything from me, which again wasn't the dream. That was the dream. That was the first part of the dream. Everything would be removed from me. Got it. It happened. Got it. I begged God before this happened. I begged God not to let it happen. Apparently that was not to be. So it happened. And so I've been asking God why, because I'm like, I did nothing to deserve this. I did nothing to deserve this. And God had showed me a little bit here and there about why they wanted it to happen this way. I know that it might be, I think it might have something to do in small part to do with the condition of God's children who are not actually doing well, and so they're kind of wallowing in their misery, but they've kind of made a home in their misery, and they're not asking God to help them come out of it. They've just taken to saying, I don't know, it is well with my soul, which doesn't make sense to me. And so, yeah, so I think that in part it has something to do with it, but I don't know. Again, God has not told me specifically why this is the case. But even though they have not, and I fought with God about this, I do recognize that God's wisdom surpasses mine by the nth degree. So there's that. Also, I just trust God's wisdom. I've learned to trust it, not to say that I trust it, but to actually trust it. Things that I feel like were brought onto me as a curse ended up being a blessing. And I don't know, it's one of those things where you just marvel at it and you're kind of ashamed to thank God for it, because at first you wanted to curse him out, and I have cursed God out many a time. It's just I don't know how to really explain that. It's just yeah. I kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah, it's just basically what it is. It's God taking care of me. And so that's actually what the episode of this is supposed to be about today, which is the verse. Actually, I don't usually associate these things with a verse, but there is a verse associated with this because that's the one that came to my mind. It's Matthew 6, 26, right? And it says, behold the fowls of the air. This is King James. Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns. Yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? That is something that people have taught in churches a lot. It's in the Bible. People have read it a lot. People know that text, at least that part of the text, that part of the chapter. I am just going to be honest with you. It wasn't until just very recently where I recognized that I was living this thing, right? Where the birds are neither sowing, nor are they reaping, nor are they gathering into barns, and yet they are living, and enjoying life. Humans, we do those things, right? And yet we are not enjoying life for the most part. But me, I understand why Jesus was, I think it's in verse 27. Wait, no, it's not verse 27. It's verse 28. Why take ye thought, why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. And then verse 31, therefore take no thought, saying, what should we eat, or what should we drink, or wherewith should we be clothed? 32, for all these things do the Gentiles seek, for your heavenly Father knoweth that you have need of all of these things. I am only currently living that paradigm where I'm not worried about what I'm going to eat or what I'm going to drink. Now, that doesn't mean that I haven't gone a couple of days without eating, but it's not because I had nothing to eat. There was like one night, I think, where I had misinformation, and so I didn't get something to eat, and I was very angry with God because I should have been able to, but it was not. It was literally, I literally missed one meal, right? And I only eat 2 meals a day anyway, so like it's not whatever. And I mean, just habitually, even when I was in my house, I only ate once to 2 times a day. So it's not a off thing that I wouldn't eat. I would only eat once a day. It's not like crazy, inconceivable. But I've never, when I wanted something to eat, I would tell God I'd want something to eat, or at least the thought would cross my mind, and I would have something to eat. And normally the food was good. Food wasn't like spectacular all the time, but sometimes it was really good. Also clothes. I have nice. I have nice clothes. I have okay clothes. I mean, I'm not really dressed to the T. I do like dressing well, but currently I just have to dress, but I have a lot of, I have a lot of shorts, and it's getting warm, so I'm wearing my shorts now. And my jeans I wore out over the winter. And so if I'm here for this next winter, then I'll just need something else. But it's one of those things where it's not something I'm worried about, But when I think I'm about it, when I feel like I should be worried, then that's when the worry creeps in, which is a strange thing. Otherwise, when I'm thinking about this is something I need, I don't worry about it now because I know that God is going to take care of it. And so it's not something I'm concerned about. Now, this text says, take no thought. I don't know if that's what that means, because the thought does come into my head. I can't prevent the thought from coming into my head, but when it comes into my head, I tell God about it, or I'll just say it to myself, like, oh, I'll need this or whatever, and then it happens. So it's less about taking thought and more about I'm not worried about it, you know? So that's why that's what I wanted to talk to you all about this time in this episode, is that this is a true thing. We have learned to look at each other and think that life is supposed to be like this or that or whatever. I don't think that is how it's supposed to be. It doesn't mean you can't look at somebody and be like, if somebody's driving a certain type of car, and it's not about, oh, I want that car. Sorry, what I'm saying is it's okay to be like, oh, I want that car. That's what I'm saying. It's okay that's not an issue, right? But what is an issue, I have experienced in my own life, is thinking that your life needs to be this way because it happened with this person, or it happened, or other people have told you that it happened. And the most successful person be like, oh, they're successful, so they know what they're talking about. They are successful in their own right. It's different for everybody, and it's different for me. So my walk is not going to be the same as anybody else's walk. Absolutely not going to be the same as anybody else's walk. The only thing that you should take from my walk is, we'll be honest with God and be with God. Like, talk to God, seek after God. If you can, ask God for the things. Just period. Ask God. Do the things. It'll hurt in the beginning because you don't know God and you don't know what to expect, but you might handle it better than I do. I don't handle it very well, but God is patient with me. So it is, I just go through I just do it. So those are the only two things that you should take from my life, is seek after God and be honest with yourself and with God. Just that. So a thing that we should remember is this verse from John 21. It's John 21. So I'm looking for some Kleenex. I think my nose is starting to run. Yeah. There we go. Excuse me. So John, chapter 21, 21 and 22. Peter, seeing him, said to Jesus, Lord, and what shall this man do? Jesus saith unto him, if I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to thee? Follow thou me. And that has been my situation. That has been my life. I'm like, but this is how I think it's supposed to go. And God's saying, no. And the real question is, do you want to do it the way God wants to do it? Because it's going to be different. It's going to be crazy. I'm a happy person. I'm very, very chill, happy, and I am not stressed. I am not anxious. But this world has not made me sad rather than happy. And so I'm wondering if I am going to remain on this earth, how God is going to be able to bring me, the joy, the abundant joy that, they promised on this earth. I'm not saying it's impossible. I just don't know how. It's just what it is. But the thing about leaning into God is, there's that verse that's it's in the same chapter, Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. He cannot serve God and mammon. And I know that that's been translated, mammon's been translated to be riches, right? It's not riches per se, right? It says masters. It's not talking about riches is not necessarily your master. Like riches is a tool. Money is a tool. It is what it is, right? The thing that prevents you from serving God is serving yourself or other people, trusting other people over yourself or other people over God. That is the thing that is kind of that is the thing that it's really the sin is, do you believe God or are you going to trust yourself? That's where this comes in. And humans' attachment to money is astounding. So it makes sense. You cannot hope to follow after God and assume that you are correct. You can't do that. It doesn't mean to stop trying to live your life, because God will be the one who kind of directs you. I'm sorry, my nose is doing something weird. God will show you if that's what you want. God will show you how to come out of it. So it's not like an abrupt, ripping it off like a bandage. That's not how it works. But over the course of time, you do have to decide, do you want to trust God or do you want to trust yourself? Now, Adam and Eve, they decided to trust the serpent and then themselves. And so we've all had to deal with the consequences of that. But at the end of the day, the hope is that you end up trusting God, because God's blessing, well, I can't say what's going to happen afterwards. I just have hope in what's going to happen afterwards. But during, I can attest that the things that are written in Scripture, at least the things that I've experienced, are legitimate and real, right? So this, no thought for what you eat, what you drink, what you're going to put on your body, that is real. It's not something you can just decide that you're going to do. That's not how that works, because God is a real person. God is a being. God works with you and your mind and how you are and stuff like that. So you just have to wait for God's timing and stuff like, you just got to be patient. You've got to just keep talking to God, keep talking to God. Don't just sit there and not do anything. Just keep talking to God as much as you can, however you can. But the blessings of the Bible are true. I don't know where they come in your life. Maybe you will get the, maybe you'll get the riches on this earth, like Zacchaeus, and hopefully not like Zacchaeus, overtaxing people. But I'm saying and like Job apparently was really rich, Joseph as well. So you might get those on this earth or you might not. It's really up to between you and God. But God is the one that will, God is the one saying, I know what to do with you, for you. Don't worry. Do you trust me? And it's hard. But, you just say, yeah, I trust you, and just go with it, see where God takes you. I don't know if I have much more to say, like, directly on that. So, I'm looking. Oh, so there's this one note that I wanted to end off on for this, which is Psalms 37:25. This is again King James. It says, I have been young and now I'm old, Yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Now, this ties back into not worrying about what you're going to eat or what you're going to drink and stuff like that. It is God's duty to, it is God's duty to clothe their children, to feed their children. We are put on this earth not of our own accord, not of our own desire. It is God's duty to take care of us. The righteous that this speaks of are people who are found in kind of the hands of Jesus. Those are really those people. Now, if you can say that you believe, and I'm not going to try to put rules to this because I don't know, but I do know, at least in my own situation, I have never had to beg, like for food. I've never had to beg at all. But especially not for food or clothing. I have had to ask sometimes for certain things, but I've never been on the corner begging. Just because I'm God's child, right? And I do seek after God. And I do expect God to take care of me. That's God's job. I'm their child. I am under their protection. And that's basically the crux of it. So, there's nothing, I do ask God for all the things that I desire. I've been asking God for things for other people as well. But yeah. So I just wanted to bring this topic up just to let people know that if you're listening, these things are true. The Bible, from what I have experienced, is not a myth. It seems like it. I do understand. It does seem like it. It seems kind of far-fetched because we haven't seen it. I think that's the biggest issue, is that because we haven't seen it or experienced it, it does seem far-fetched. It does seem like, oh, maybe it is figurative and stuff like that. And I do think that there are some figurative things in there, but I also think that I know that there are some literal things in there. Again, I haven't been able to move a mountain, but I do think that promise is literal. There are many promises in the Bible that are literal. There's a promise that I do believe that God gave me, which is Psalms 91. You can look that up if you want to. And I do believe that I do know that I've lived at least part of that, those texts. 1,000 haven't fallen at my side and 10,000 have not fallen at my right side. But also, I don't know what that means, to be absolutely honest. But I do know the part where it's like, it said, he will call upon me and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Now, that's also part of the thing that I wondered if that meant that God was going to keep me on this earth or not, is because it said, with long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. I was wondering if that meant that I would be on earth, as in long life, or if God's still talking about, or if God's talking about long life as in eternal life. Therefore, you're not on earth, you're in heaven, sort of thing. So, anyways, but I do know myself that when I call on God, they hear me and they answer me in many different ways. It's not a voice always. It's not this thought always. It's a bunch of different meanings. Or sorry, a bunch of different communication methods that God uses, and I just go with it, and ask for clarification when I need it. Just But anyways, the Bible, from my lived experiences, and I've chronicled them on YouTube and on my Google documents and in my journal and stuff like that. But my lived experiences, when it pertains to the Bible, have proven, at least to me, that it is true. Now, I know that, and I have known this, that the things that I say, people won't listen to until later down the line. It always happens like that. I don't see that changing anytime soon. So when that happens, when you have heard it and now it's been recorded, then you will understand, God is wanting to be with you. God is wanting to work with you and bless you. I don't know what that means for you. You just got to talk to God and see what that means. So anyways, I hope that helps. And I will talk to you again some other time. Don't forget, if you want to be a part of the audience, just sign up for the Discord server. Okay? All right. Have a good day.